Angle in the first. Watch out.
Look at this. Upton pops it up. Left side, Elvis Andrus is backpedaling. He is under it. He puts it away. The Texas Rangers have won a postseason series.
The Texas Rangers are American League champions. One swing. It's tied! Garcia on 600. This is over. He's at the wall, and the legend grows! It's Texas Rangers win the World Series!
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, fresh off the first weekend of spring training. Here we go, Rangers 2-1 as they play their first three games. Started off with a loss, but took the last two games of the weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. We're going to go through as much as we can with you, talk about some things that stood out over the first three games. Obviously, we're getting a little bit nitpicky when you're talking about spring training games, right? I mean, we got to have a certain perspective here as we walk through these games. But nevertheless, you got plenty of guys that are trying to show off what they got. You got plenty of guys that are competing for maybe a spot on the 40-man, maybe a spot on the 26-man when it all finally comes to an end later next month. These are real competitions. And so maybe for some of the pitching, maybe for some of the guys that are definitely going to be on the squad, we can say, hey, they were tweaking with something. They were messing with something. They were experimenting. But for a lot of these guys that are maybe not a part of that starting nine or not a part of the starting rotation, I mean, this is as real as it gets, man. You are trying to show this team, to show the squad what you got. And so we're going to break down as much as we can for you. We'll start with today's game, and we'll kind of work our way backwards a little bit. Feel free to drop a comment or a question along the way. But, yeah, look, during the offseason, I said I'm going to turn over a new leaf. Brian, what's good, man? Good to see you. I said I'd turn over a new leaf, and we do some spring training lives. I think the weekend makes the most sense just because everybody's actually around. And, look, most of these spring training games are at 12 o'clock. I mean, every day. And so, look, if we happen to get a night game at some point this spring training, maybe we'll go live after it if it's during the week. But feels like a good rhythm. Thursday, Sunday, I like it. I like it. We have a number of different things that I want to talk through with today's game. First of all, though, I want to say what's up to all you guys here at Right on Rangers. We cover everything Texas sports, but we put a big emphasis on the Texas Rangers as the baseball season approaches. And we hope you will choose Texas Rangers content here at Right on Rangers as much as you possibly can. We got a lot of great stuff coming your way over the next 7 months. Here we go. With that, let's talk a little bit about today's game. Rangers win 9-5. They improved to 2-1 in spring training. Look, I know that with preseason in the NFL and spring training, who cares about the record, right? But I will say, like, some of us who are Cowboys fans, you think back to when the Cowboys would go like 0-4 in preseason, and you kind of say to yourself as a fan, it's preseason. But it just doesn't feel good. It feels a lot better when your squad has a good preseason, has a good spring training. And so I'm happy to see the team start out 2-1. A couple of things that I want to go through today. First of all, Mackenzie Gore making his very first start in a Rangers uniform, and clearly we have very high expectations for Mackenzie. Little rough first game for him. You look at the box score, you look at the line, you had 2 innings pitched and no strikeouts. I think that's kind of the one that stands out to me. No strikeouts today for Gore. And like I said to start the show, I mean, clearly at some point these guys are throwing different pitches at different times, emphasizing certain pitches more than others, trying to work on some of the pitches maybe they feel a little bit weaker in. And so Mackenzie Gore's not going out there trying to strike out every single hitter. I think that's obvious, but gets hit around a little bit today. 3 hits, 2 earned runs, inning and 2/3, so didn't even make it out of the second inning. And clearly, they're going to take it easy with Mackenzie Gore. Some of you may be familiar with Gore and what happened last year. Started out the season on fire, looked like an MVP. Cy Young maybe is a better way to put a candidate. And then August hit, and he had some shoulder fatigue. And the last 2 months of the season were just not very good for Mackenzie Gore. And so I do think the Rangers are probably going to take it a little bit easy on him in spring training. I think he feels great. He said he feels great. But at the same time, you do not want to push a guy who experienced some issues with health at the end of last season. So doesn't make it out of the second inning. That 10.80 ERA is not going to look great. But first start of many, hopefully, for Mackenzie Gore in a Texas Rangers uniform. Let's talk about some of the guys that are competing for a spot and some of the guys that really are, for lack of a better expression, it's like put up or shut up, right? Like, you're not here for spring training trying to experiment. You're trying to make the team. You're trying to claim a spot somewhere on the 26-man, 40-man roster. You are trying to stand out. So, look, we can explain away Mackenzie Gore. Some of these other guys, I mean, they've got to produce. They've got to put up numbers. Let's talk about a guy who has had a pretty good weekend so far. Let's talk about Jonah Bride, a guy who played for Skip Schumacher a few years ago with Miami, bounced around a little bit. But Jonah today comes up with a 3-run double, 929 OPS through the weekend. And this is an interesting guy when you consider the Cody Freeman injury. I don't know how many of us are keeping up with the beat writers and the news during spring training, but Rangers utility man, Rangers rookie Cody Freeman, fan of the show, friend of the show, is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a back stress fracture. And so he is on the shelf. Most likely now Cody Freeman going to be beginning the year in AAA at Round Rock. And I think he'll be back at some point to help out Texas. I think he's definitely going to be one of the first calls the team will make if a player is needed or if there's some struggles out the gate. I think Cody is absolutely going to be one of the first names that Skip and company make a phone call to in Round Rock. But unfortunate for him. I do think Cody Freeman was a long shot to make the roster. I think it would have been tough for him. And I don't say that disrespectfully. I don't say that to just be a troll, but I think Cody was up against it. You've got a number of other guys that he's competing with. There's basically 4 bench spots. We talked about this on the show on Thursday. Jansen and Haggerty are going to take up 2 of them. We're going to talk about Sam Swaggerty here in a little bit, man. But I think that Cody was going to have a tough road. There was 2 bench spots available, and you got Duran, you got Mike Hellman, you've also got Alejandro Osuna. I think Osuna probably begins the year in AAA. Also, he's going to be going to the WBC here in a couple of weeks. That's going to be exciting to watch Alejandro play for Team Mexico. But I just think Cody had a tough road. He could have easily had a killer spring, made his mark, and solidified himself on the Rangers bench. But I think that at this point, you've got some pretty interesting competitions going on. Josh Smith, I think that pretty much seals his second base starting job. I think Cody was probably one of the guys that could have pushed Josh Smith to the brink for a starting role. It's unfortunate that Josh doesn't have that competition himself. Josh is off to a pretty good start. He hasn't had a ton of at-bats, but it's just nice when you get players competing with each other. I like the competition factor. And so the fact that Josh Smith loses out on a more intense competition for second base, it's too bad. However, let's talk Jonah Bride. I trailed off on him a little bit. Jonah is a guy that definitely hit at the AAA level. Jonah, like I said, played for Skip Schumacher. I believe he can play a few different positions. I don't know what his baseball card is going to be able to tell us at this point. But today, I think he played a little first base. I think he's played second base. He's played third base. So looks like second base was probably the least of the positions. He played, let's see, third base 23 times last year, played first base 9 times, played second base 3 times. So this is a utility guy, an infielder. Don't think he's played a lot of outfield, but he did not have a great batting average in OPS last year. I think we got to put that to the side. But this is a guy that definitely, with the Cody Freeman injury, could be looking at maybe finding his way onto the 40-man roster. This, I think, is an interesting guy to watch, and he has been hitting the ball well so far these first 3 games. A lot can change over the course of the next month, don't get me wrong. But that leads me into another guy. Let's talk Justin Foscue here. Justin Foscue is the Rangers' 2020 first-round draft pick. And a lot of y'all longtime listeners are very familiar with Justin Foscue. And I don't bring Justin Foscue up to start up the Justin Foscue fan club, although I have nothing against the guy and want to see every one of our players succeed. Who wouldn't if you're a true fan? But I really feel like Justin Foscue is the guy more than anybody, more than anyone else, that has now had the door open fully wide for him. With the Cody Freeman injury, Justin Foscue should be absolutely licking his chops at the potential to make it onto the major league roster and maybe even get some playing time. The Rangers are in desperate need of right-handed hitting, particularly against lefties. Particularly against left-handed pitching. Foscue yesterday went 2 for 3, handled lefties well. This is Justin Foscue's moment. And look, Jonah Bride's having a nice spring so far. It's been 3 games. But Justin Foscue, the 2020 first-round pick, yes, we all know he did not have a great run in the major leagues. It has not been pretty. He's looked overmatched. I think this is Justin Foscue's last rodeo. I don't really understand why you keep Justin Foscue on the roster. Silas, by the way, appreciate you, man. You and I are in lockstep on this one. I mean, look, I'm not saying Justin Foscue needs the position. He has to have it. But what I am saying is, if it's not right now for Foscue, when is it? You've had an injury to Cody Freeman. The club needs help against left-handed pitching. They need a right-handed bat. Justin Foscue getting reps in the outfield. He can play multiple positions in the infield. He's got the pedigree. If you're not going to put it all together right now, when are you? And I said it in a tweet earlier this weekend with Foscue. If he doesn't make the active roster, if he doesn't make the 26-man on opening day, what are you doing with him? Do we really want to have Justin Foscue steal ABs in AAA from other guys? I know the farm system isn't robust. I know there's not a bunch of first base infield prospects that Justin Foscue would be stealing time from maybe. But nevertheless, how long do you want to continue to play this guy in the minor leagues? I think Justin Foscue has to find his way onto the opening day roster, not because he has earned it in the first 2 games of spring training, but because if not now, when? And so we'll see what happens with him the rest of the spring. I'm very curious what happens with Foscue and how he performs. But Justin Foscue has had good springs before. I want to say last year, Foscue had a pretty good spring. He's had multiple good springs, and then it just hasn't worked out. And so we'll see how it translates in 2026. But if you're not getting the guy on the roster in March of 2026, when are you going to do it? And how much longer are you going to hold this guy in AAA? Let him go to another team. Maybe he'll get a better opportunity. I just don't know at this point, after 8 seasons of college ball and of minor league ball. Justin Foscue has had 8 seasons, college ball, minor league ball. I mean, this is not a guy green out of high school. This guy played at Mississippi State. He's been in the Rangers system for, I believe, 5 years now, 5 seasons. like I said, put up or shut up at some point. And if the organization is not going to put him on the 26 man, deal him, find a trade partner, or let him try and make his way into another organization that's maybe going to give him a little bit more of a runway. I know Justin got his chances with us at the big league level. I mean, doesn't have triple-digit plate appearances in the major leagues. I wouldn't call that a huge runway that we gave him, but we did give him playing time for a couple weeks, and it just didn't go well. But at this point, he is one, I think, that has to step up in the wake of the Cody Freeman injury. We keep on rolling. I'm hoping for an entertaining season as well, Aaron. I don't know if he's still hanging out, but I'm definitely hoping that happens too. Last year was entertaining at times, painful, but entertaining. Hey, man, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you becoming a member. Love you, man. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Been a Rangers fan for 40 years, man. You've seen it all, Darnell. You've seen it all. 40 years. Thought Cal Raleigh was live. Get it all the time. Cal Raleigh, baby. It wouldn't be a show without it. I say that every single time. Appreciate the follow. Carson, yes, sir. We're putting the Cowboys gear away. We put the Longhorns gear away. It's baseball season. Look, I got the Mavericks hat out. Y'all on TikTok can't see the Mavs hat in the background. Got the Mavs hat out. It's not been a great year, although it's been a lot of fun watching Cooper Flagg ball out and continue to grow and mature as a rookie. Nevertheless, it's been a forgettable Dallas Mavericks season. Very forgettable. Appreciate you guys. Hey, I know opening rant took us a few different directions. You guys 100% need to drop that comment again if I missed it. Question. I want to make sure I get to everything. Did not watch the gold medal game this morning. Had church, had a few other things going on, but I absolutely watched the last, I think, what was it, overtime period. I think caught like the last 2 or 3 minutes, saw the goal, did not watch the entire game though. Amazing to do it to Canada in, back-to-back games. You had the women's game for gold. You had the men's game for gold. Love that. The hockey was, to me, the best part of the Olympics. Look, I joked with my wife Friday night. We were out. The kids did a little pizza dinner. It was great. But every time I go out and the Olympics are on, it's always curling. I'm like, do they play any other sports in the Olympics besides curling? Literally every time when I'm out and about, going out to eat, wherever I'm at, it's curling. Like, what else do they play in the Winter Olympics? Saw like a little skiing. Shoot, man, a lot of people must love curling. My goodness. I mean, I can watch it for a little bit, but it was getting a little excessive at times. Ultra Modern, good to see you. MLB teams enslaved these talented college dudes in the minors forever. Well, Ultra, the opposite of that would be Wyatt Langford, right? I mean, they brought that dude right from college to the pros, basically. But I do feel like you're right. Wyatt Langford is a little bit of an exception. It's a little bit ironic. Like, you would think that these college guys would have the inside track, kind of like Wyatt did. But there are definitely some organizations that get the college guys in-house and, they end up maybe passing them over for a guy that's been in the organization since 18. It's tough. But Foscue, I mean, we're talking about Foscue. He had 3 seasons in college, and then COVID hit. And then he's had 5 seasons in the Rangers organization. Like, at some point, you have got to figure it out, and you've got to either perform when you're given the opportunity, or the Rangers need to move on, which is hurtful because 2019 first-round pick, Davis Wenzel, he's gone. Josh Jung was a 2019 guy as well. He's still going strong. But you had a first-round guy in Davis Wenzel no longer with the org. You got Justin Foscue the next year in 2020 in the first round, possibly on his way out if he doesn't figure it out. It's going to be interesting. I'm ready for a big year for Wyatt too. Hey, appreciate the sub and the like. Thank you so much, Darnell. Means a lot. Yeah, never cover the Spurs. Never. That's all right, man. The Mavericks, I'm feeling the Mavs maybe next year is going to be a competitive year for us. It's been 2 down ones. Kyrie back healthy. You got Cooper Flag. You maybe add some pieces in free agency. That's the hope. That is the hope. But until then, till next October, thoughts on Cauley? Let's talk about Cam Cauley. He's been good to start the spring for sure. I agree with that. Thank you for the comment here. I think that it's early with any of these guys. I want to obviously make sure we take it with a grain of salt, but we've got Cam Cauley today hitting well against lefties. That's something that I talked about when we didn't get Miguel Andujar. You might remember the Rangers were rumored to be in pretty strongly on Miguel Andujar. Andujar ultimately ended up taking a deal with San Diego. Andujar, a lefty crusher, 986 OPS against lefties last year. And when the Rangers didn't get him, I offered up Sam Haggerty, who we're going to talk about, I'm sure, at some point on the show today. Love Sam Haggerty. And I also said, hey, maybe a little bit of a lottery ticket for this year, meaning like it could go really, really well. It could flame out. But I said, think about Cam Cauley maybe as an internal replacement to come up and hit lefties well. He hit 924 last year in the minor leagues, did Cam Cauley against lefties in AAA. And today he mashes against lefties once again. You see he had a base knock against lefties, I think in game 1. I think he had one, and then added onto it today as well. So Cam Cauley, so far in the spring, those numbers are looking pretty good. Believe he is at a 1143 OPS right now. 2 for 3 on the day with 2 runs. I mean, Cam is another guy. We're talking about Cody Freeman going down. Cody, by the way, when Cody was on the show, he actually said Cam Cauley is one of the Rangers prospects that a lot of people have been sleeping on. And then, like, we pumped it up a little bit, and magically everybody starts talking about Cam Cauley. Just how it goes sometimes. You're right on Rangers, y'all. But Cam Cauley getting a little bit of love as spring heats up here. I think the diehards, the people that have really been locked in on the farm system, have had their eye on Cam Cauley anyways. But Cam's a shortstop by trade. I'm sure he can play a couple of different infield positions if you asked him to. And this is a guy that definitely hits lefties well. I would like to see him up at some point this year. Maybe it's in September when the rosters expand. I think Cody Freeman is probably going to be the guy they call up first from the minor leagues over Cam Cauley. But with the Walcott injury and with the Cody Freeman injury, things are opening up a little bit. And maybe some guys start taking advantage, but I like what I'm seeing from Cam Cauley 100%. And like I said, this is a guy that could fill a legitimate hole for Texas. Not really hitting lefties very well the last couple of years. Texas was bottom 5 in 2025 when it came to OPS against left-handed pitchers. Not ideal. And so maybe Cam is a guy that eventually becomes someone that helps aid them in that department. Yeah, that's right. He can play a little bit of outfield as well. You're right about that. Okay, appreciate you. Trade Foscue for Harry Ford, catcher prospect. Hayden, appreciate you, man. Good to see you. Thank you for the comment. So one thing that I actually tweeted out during the game, and by the way, at Right on Rangers on X, I'm on Threads as well, Facebook, pretty much anything. If you want to follow me to get some immediate reaction during the games, I tweet out pretty much, I feel like, every other inning, maybe sometimes more, depending on what's going on. But follow me over on one of those if you'd like. But I did talk about the catcher position. Right now, we've got Kyle Higashioka with 1 year left on his deal. Danny Jansen's deal was 2 years, and so we've got this year and next year with Danny Jansen. I don't see them re-signing Kyle Higashioka. If I just had to make a call on that right now, I don't feel like the Rangers are going to give him a new contract. I feel like Kyle is probably going to go somewhere else, get the most money that he can. I don't think Texas re-ups on him. maybe if he has a monster year. But honestly, if he has a monster year, it's probably more of a reason the team doesn't decide to pay him. And look, I don't want to get into a cheap owner rant because that's just low-hanging fruit at this point. But if Kyle Higashioka kills it this year, you can almost bet he's not going to be back with the Rangers. If he has like a mediocre to bad year, maybe. But I think if you have a Kyle Higashioka mediocre to bad year, why would you really want to reinvest in that? I think either way, Higgy is probably gone. And so my comment was, Danny Jansen's not an everyday player. Higgy's gone after this year. When are the Rangers going to really pour into the catchers that they already have? Who is going to be coming up in the system that is going to provide the Rangers with an everyday guy? You've got Cooper Johnson, who had a decent game today. Cooper Johnson was 1 for 1, had a walk, had a sac fly, put the ball in play, hit the ball hard today. Cooper did not have gaudy stats in terms of offense when he was down at AAA, down at AA. It was actually a little bit worse when it went to AAA, and that makes sense. You're going up from AA to AAA. There's a jump in skill. But Cooper, one thing that I really do love about him that I think a lot of Rangers fans can get on board with, Cooper Johnson has thrown out 32% of base runners in his minor league career. And if you rank that 32% right now among MLB catchers, he'd be in the top 10 easily. Now, yes, when you get to the big league level, you've got more speed on the bases, you've got more craftiness with base running in general, but I like Cooper Johnson's arm and his ability to throw out runners and control the stolen base game. That's something that the Rangers are going to have a really tough time with this year. I don't think there's any way around it. You look at the advanced stats for Kyle Higashioka. You look at the advanced stats for Danny Jansen. The arm is not great for either one of them. The pop time is not great for either one of them. Each one can do a little bit of framing, but with ABS, that's going to become slightly less valuable. It's going to be, I think, another long year on the base paths, at least defending the base paths for the Texas Rangers. Danny Jansen had a couple of opportunities yesterday, really didn't have anything crazy close. I got to call it like it is. I know that some Rangers fans really don't like it when anyone gets negative at all about the team. You guys know I try and err on the side of positivity, but I'm not going to not call a spade a spade. Danny Jansen and Kyle Higashioka are going to have a tough time keeping base runners from stealing this year. And that is, I think, a very fair assessment based on their track records, based on their history, their numbers, and the fact that both of them are aging. Usually those numbers don't start getting better as you get into your 30s and as you get late into your career as a catcher. And so I would like to see the Rangers, bringing this whole thing full circle, I'd like to see the Rangers really develop the catching that's in the farm system right now. I think that Malcolm Moore was the guy that a lot of people thought was going to be here at this point. And maybe that would have been true. I think Malcolm Moore is definitely struggling a little bit in the minor leagues, but he has dealt with injury. I think he got hit by a pitch last year at the beginning of the summer. That kind of messed with his progression. Maybe this year he has a really strong year and reasserts himself up at the top of the Rangers prospect list. He took quite a fall. I think he was not even in the top 15. We're talking about Malcolm Moore, who was the first round pick of the Rangers from a few years ago, a catcher out of Stanford, right? So another college guy, ultra modern. I don't know if you're still hanging out, but another college guy that's having a tough time finding his way up to the big leagues. Malcolm Moore was supposed to be, I think, the Jonah Heim replacement. And Jonah Heim is now gone, signed with the Braves. And the Rangers are still kind of piecemealing together the catcher position. They are doing it with the bullpen too, and a little bit with the back end of the starting rotation. But I'd like for them to stop piecemealing the catcher spot. We have got to develop somebody in the farm that can step up and be a potential everyday player. Either that or you got to trade for one. A couple of ideas that have gotten thrown around. You're talking about Josh Jung in the offseason. What were the Rangers going to do with him? It looks like they've doubled down on fixing him and getting him back to 2023 form, which I think a lot of Rangers fans are very okay with. Something got thrown around, though. Would you do Josh Jung for Adley Rutschman straight up? Josh Jung for Adley Rutschman straight up. Would you do that? I'm kind of curious, actually, to hear what y'all's opinion is on this. If you could do Jung for Rutschman straight up, would you do it? I probably would, only because it is hard to find an everyday, really good, positive, in a lot of different intangibles catcher. I think with Adley, you have a really good fit in a Skip Schumacher offense. He's a guy that does not strike out a lot, does not swing and miss a lot, puts the ball in play and takes walks. And the defense is above average. I don't know if it's elite defense, but you've got above average defense. You'd be instantly improving the defensive side of things from the catcher spot. Now, look, Josh Jung is mashing so far this spring. Feels like everything that's come off Jung's bat at this point is triple digits for the exit velocity. And so maybe the knee-jerk reaction is absolutely not. We don't trade Josh Jung. I probably would do a Rutschman for Jung straight-up deal. I think that you can replace a third baseman. I think catching is such a valuable position, probably a little bit underrated in my opinion by a lot of casual fans. I think the catching position is so important. Look at the Mariners with Cal Raleigh. I mean, dude taking it to a new level offensively, but Cal Raleigh is a very, very good defensive catcher. And so if you can get an established guy like Rutschman, who's good behind the dish, plays good defense, can control the base runners, good pop time, and has some upside offensively. No, he had a down year last year, and he's had some struggles recently, but this is an all-star level player, kind of almost very eerily similar to Josh Jung, like really popped in like 2023, 24, and has had some down years now for the past couple of years. I kind of liked it. I don't know. I don't think this deal is getting done, by the way. I just want to make that clear. I don't think this deal is getting done. But, you know, we like to throw out fun trade potential. And that was one that I heard throughout the offseason and even just a few days ago. I think that the Rangers, the bottom line is forget Josh Jung and the trade potential. You've got to figure out the catching for the long term. You can't continue to piecemeal this together. And hopefully the Rangers can upgrade one of the internal options. Otherwise, you got to look outside the organization and pull the trigger on a trade. No way around it. Matt, good to see you, brother. Our catchers and pitchers don't do well controlling the running game. Look, it was yesterday, Kumar Rocker, second inning, Danny Jansen behind the dish. Rocker actually does an abbreviated leg kick because, you know, Rocker's got that pretty big leg kick that he does. Rocker does an abbreviated leg kick. He did throw off speed. Granted, his off speed's still like in the 80s. It's not like it dips all the way into the 70s. Throws an off speed, and Danny Jansen, it's not even close. I know that some people are going to say it's early. I don't know. Pop times and throwing the baseball down to second base, maybe that can improve a little bit over the course of spring training, but that to me should be one of the fastest things to actually happen and play out versus hitting, which is a lot more timing and rhythm. I can't say, and look, you guys know, I haven't played the game at any kind of crazy level, played in high school, played real small ball in college. It was great, but I don't think throwing the ball is the thing that takes a month to come along. And Danny Jansen throwing it down to second base, it is what it is at this point. I think the Rangers are going to have a tough time with it. Doubt the Orioles would do that straight up. I think you're probably right there, Ultramodern. I think you have a point. I really don't think the Orioles would do it. And that's why I say if you did have the opportunity, you should. But I do tend to think Baltimore probably not doing that deal without throwing in somebody else on the Texas side. With Rutschman, you feel better about the catching situation. Who plays third, though? That is the big question. My argument there is I think it's easier to replace a third baseman than it is a catcher. I mean, look, you can throw anybody back there behind the dish. Doesn't mean it's going to go well. But if you can get a catcher like Rutschman plus defense with upside offensively, clearly he's been an all-star. But what I like the most about Rutschman's bat, even though the numbers don't look great, the K percentage, the walk percentage, the chase percentage, all elite. A lot of red there. So again, this is a guy that is disciplined up at the plate. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. When he swings, he puts the ball in play. These are things that Skip Schumacher wants this year out of a lot of the Rangers lineup. And so I do think it'd be a good fit. Third base, I think you'd have to fill it probably with Cody Freeman. You'd have to fill it internally with a young guy, Sebastian Walcott, clearly on the shelf, but I think Walcott could be a potential third base guy. I know he got a little bit of time there. He's going to be out for a majority of this season, but I do think you could make Walcott the third baseman of the future. I know a lot of people like shortstop for him, and I understand that. I think Corey Seager is going to be at shortstop for a few more years. I think it's very likely Sebastian Walcott has to come up to the major league level and play a different spot. He looks good at shortstop, and I think that he easily could be a major league shortstop, but he could also play outfield. He could play other positions. I don't see Corey moving in the next year or two. I think Corey probably moves away from shortstop. Maybe you're thinking like 2029. I think he plays probably this year, 7 and 8. I think maybe 2029 we get Corey Seager off the shortstop position. I think it's going to be a few more years before Corey decides to move on to something else. Maybe. We'll see what happens there. Rangers, I think, just want to get Sebastian Walcott's bat in the lineup. I think Walcott is an athletic player that could play a number of different places. We will see what happens with him. The injury is unfortunate. You felt like this was going to be the year that maybe he found his way into the big leagues at some point. I think it's probably more likely 2027 unless the Rangers just desperately need him and he's healthy and he's looking good. And that would probably be end of the summertime from what everybody is saying for the injury recovery. We keep going. As a fan of the other Texas baseball team, you're the only Rangers content creator I can trust to give 100% unbiased opinions on the Rangers. Look, I can't say I give 100% unbiased opinions, but I can tell you this. I try not to overhype. I try not to, pump up or gas up somebody that's really just mediocre. And you know what? If something's not going right, you call it out, right? Like I always think about when I'm watching the game with my buddies, when I'm kicking back, got a cold one, watching the game with my best friends, we call it like it is, right? If somebody is stinking it up, we don't sit around and try and turn it into flowery sunshine and roses. We say, dude's been sucking lately. That's what you do with your friends. So let's do it here when we're hanging out, talking ball. There's no need to gas up somebody that's actually just mid or bad. I know that some people really just want to hear only positive things. And look, I hope you'll still hang out, but I can't promise this is going to be the place for that. If something's not going right, we got to call it like it is around here. I mean, think about if Mavericks fans would have taken that approach with the whole Luka and Nico situation. Now, look, I think some fans went a little bit over the top. You're not going to catch me doing some of the wild things people were doing in the wake of the Luka trade. But I will say the fans spoke loudly when it came to that, and it mattered. And so, again, there's no need to try and make something terrible into something beautiful. Like, it's just not how I roll here. And I'm going to try as best I can to give you guys an objective perspective. You know, the team that I rep, it's pretty obvious, but at the same time, we'll try and give as unbiased a take as humanly possible. We keep on going. Remember what Jose Trevino was supposed to be? Jose Trevino, man, that's a good guy. I got his autograph. Got to talk to him like a little bit. I think it was at a spring training game. And he's just always struck me as a good dude, one of the good ones in the game. I think Jose's glove was incredible. I think he was an outstanding defensive catcher. I feel like Jose probably got given up on a little bit too soon. I would have loved if Jose could have stuck around and been a guy that we kept for a number of years. I think looking back, you'll take the defense of a Jose Trevino compared to no defense and really bad offense, which is what the Rangers have gotten the past couple of years. So good shout out for Jose Trevino. Absolutely. If they were to make a catching trade, I think it would be a prospect. You might be right there. Banana Puff, you have no clue what you're talking about. It's always the people with the hilarious usernames that say stuff like that. Keep yapping. You do your thing. Jose was the Sam Darnold of MLB. I liked Jose a lot, man. I really feel like we probably gave up on him a little bit too soon. I don't know how many of y'all listen and remember Jose. I mean, he's still around in the big leagues right now. I think he has gone on and has had some very quality years in the years after the Rangers traded him. But this is a guy, I mean, look, I really, really want to look up some of the numbers right now just to validate what we're saying here. So we'll go to good old Baseball Savant and we'll look up Jose Trevino. We'll see what he's up to. But I think the Rangers, probably looking back, would love to have him back in the fold. Look, he's not going to wow you offensively, but good dude and had some really, really good defensive years. Last year was not great for him, although elite when it came to not swinging and missing, did not have a lot of strikeouts, a guy that puts the ball in play a lot. 2024, though, this was the year for him that, I mean, catching behind the dish, he was 88th percentile, blocks above average. Hey, appreciate the gifts, by the way. Thank you so much. Luis, is that you? Appreciate you, man. Thank you. And then also framing, 95th percentile when it came to framing. 2023, he was elite in everything. Defensively, 2022, let's go back another year. 2022, he was 98th percentile in blocks above average, 64th percentile in caught stealing percentage, 100th percentile in framing. I mean, this was a defensive legend, and the Rangers, I think, just gave up on him a little bit too soon. Let's see. If Jung plays well and Walcott likely goes to right field, if Jung doesn't perform, Walcott likely winds up at third base. I think that's a good way to think about it. Like, if Josh Jung does not pan out, I do think you're maybe going to be seeing Sebastian Walcott move over to the hot corner. Now, if he does, you got to think about how Brandon Nimmo is doing. But I think there's maybe a more likelihood that Walcott goes to second base. I think that, to me, is the position the Rangers are going to kind of wait and see this year. But second base is, and this, I know it sounds disrespectful to Josh Smith, but second base is the biggest opportunity for improvement. Josh Smith, I think, is a really good baseball player. I think he is best as a utility player, a guy that plays 3 out of 6, 4 out of 6 days in a week, assuming there's an off day. I don't think he is built for playing all 162 or 150 plus. He's just had some issues holding up over the past couple of seasons. So I think that's a fair assessment. Probably not what Josh wants to hear, but I think that's a fair assessment. Now, could this be the year where it all changes for him? Absolutely. And he's having a really good spring so far. But I think Josh would be best suited as a utility guy. And so I do think second base is the place where you could most obviously improve. So think about it for next year. Let's go total glass half full here. Let's go eternal optimist. Josh Jung crushes it. Corey Seager does Corey Seager things. First base, Jake Berger does his thing as well. Right field, Brandon Nimmo has a great season. I think second base is the spot where you would look to plug Walcott in. I think that, Josh Smith, unless he's hitting 15 to 20 homers and giving you elite defense, I think you would probably like to upgrade that second base with Sebastian Walcott. I think that it's going to be interesting down the stretch what happens in the Rangers infield. If Josh Jung does not play well, yeah, you could easily see Walcott taking over that spot. But there's a lot to be determined this spring and this year. What I'm probably most fascinated by is, the wait time. how long do the Rangers wait to make changes if things aren't going well? And I know I said I was going to go eternal optimist, but that to me is intriguing without getting too much into the negatives or speaking out anything negative into existence. How long are the Rangers going to wait if certain guys are not playing well? I think that is going to be my number one thing to watch for, because last year, you remember, things weren't going well and they were really riding it out with some of the spots in the lineup, right? Jock Peterson, man, they were riding that out forever, just hoping Jock Peterson would get going. All of us, I think, were ready. Second week of April, dude, we got to do something different here. Jock cannot keep hitting third. Dude is hitting 0-50 right now. He can't keep hitting third. That to me was something that was fatal last year for Texas. They were too slow to make changes. Sean Armstrong turned into a very solid, reliable closer. Took forever to get him there. And so I do wonder, is Skip Schumacher going to have the same patience? And last year, it was not a good patience. It was actually a stunting patience. This year, is Skip going to go the patient approach with some of these guys? Or are you going to see them really try and fix issues a little bit quicker this year? I'd like to see the latter. I don't want to see this team wait until May to decide to do something different. Maybe this season is going to be a little more volatile in that way. There may be some more ups and downs, but I just don't think you can afford to miss the playoffs a third straight year with the salary and the payroll that you currently have, man. You're paying a lot of money to Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi. You're paying a lot of money to Corey Seager. I mean, we are talking $110 million right there. For what? You've got to make the playoffs this year. And so I am just so curious how patient the front office, how patient the coaching staff is going to be with some of these players. Let's keep on going. What do I think about the Astros? That's what. The Astros are going to have a good squad. They'll be competitive. I don't see the Astros as a juggernaut this year, but I do think that they've got a quality lineup, and they're going to be competing with the Rangers for a playoff spot down the stretch, I'm sure. It's how it's gone the past several years, so we will see. Hopefully the Astros are not where the Rangers have missed out on the past couple of years, the playoffs. We know the Astros missed the playoffs last year. They're going to be hungry. Mariners are going to be really good again. They're not going away anytime soon. It's going to be tough. It is going to be a tough year for Texas to get back into the big dance, to get back to October. It just is. There's no other way around it. And when you consider the AL East and how stacked the AL East is, it feels like you've got to win the division to make the playoffs. I think the AL East could easily eat up on all three of those wild card spots. You've got Baltimore, who's probably going to be better this year. You've got the Red Sox. You've got the Blue Jays. You've got the Yankees. The Rays could be more competitive this year. Legitimately, I think there is a world where the AL East eats up all three wild card spots. It feels like the division is something you have to strive to win this year. I think the Mariners are definitely the front runners at this point to take the AL West. And look, as a Texas Rangers diehard, it hurts to say that out loud, but I think they've got to be the favorites this year. They did improve their roster. It feels like they did. They've already got a great rotation. They've got a great 8th, 9th inning back end of the pen. Yeah, you kept Josh Naylor. You added Rob Refsnyder. They have a really good team, and I think that they are going to really be tough to knock off in the AL West. It's going to be tough for the Rangers this year. It is going to be a hard year to make the playoffs with how stacked that AL East is. With the new manager, the approach will likely be different. Hope so. I think that it's got to be after the last two. Mace, what's good, brother? Good to see you. I wouldn't mind if Walcott goes to second base, but the cannon of an army has kind of makes me lean towards third base or a corner outfield spot. This is true. I think going eternal optimist here with the Rangers. Josh Jung crushes it. you're not going to move him off third base. Brandon Nimmo got 5 years left on his deal. I mean, you could potentially move Nimmo to DH if you don't like the defense, and then Walcott slides to right field. Jock Peterson's going to be gone next year. I sincerely doubt that they are going to re-sign Jock Peterson. I think this is Jock's last ride in Arlington. So you could move Nimmo to DH. I don't think Corey Seager is going to be moving to DH next year. I think the play would be, if it all goes well, you move Nimmo to DH, you move Walcott to right field, and then, you've got second base open. Maybe Josh Smith claims it. Maybe somebody internally steps up. But I do agree, Mace brings up a good point. The arm is so good for Walcott. Do you really want to stick that at second base? I think you would if you had to, but I do think that he would be better served third base, right field, shortstop. I think Siegs is probably going to be there for a couple more years. I know some people are real ready to move him into a first base or DH role, especially after Friday's game. Man, Siegs was kind of kicking the ball, throwing the ball all over the yard, but it's early. And Corey Seager, we forget, is one of the more elite defensive shortstops in the game. I know he doesn't look like it, doesn't feel like it. There are certain shortstops that just have like a smoothness and an athleticism that they play the game with. Bobby Witt comes to mind. Lindor comes to mind. Corey Seager does not look smooth and athletic out there per se, but it doesn't matter how it looks. What matters is what the results are. And the results are Corey Seager, defensive WAR. He's among the tops in the league when it comes to shortstops. I think it's going to be a couple of years yet before he gets knocked out of that spot. Brian says, I have to believe this team will be more reactionary. Normally that's a bad thing, but we'll see who we have and who's going to produce. I just think you've missed the playoffs back-to-back years. Can you really sit around and wait till May for a new closer if your closer is blowing games? Can you really sit around and wait until May if Jock Peterson's hitting $150 and you got the DH spot? That is a total black hole in the lineup. I would just say no. I think it is contextual here. Had the Rangers not missed October in 24 and 25, maybe you're saying something different. But considering you haven't been back to the playoffs since 2023, you've got to be willing, I think, to make adjustments a little bit quicker, a little bit more on the fly. Keep going. Cam Cauley believer here. Harris, absolutely. I think a lot of people are. And he is increasing everyone's faith with that 1143 OPS that he's sporting right now. Cam Cauley, definitely a guy getting some hype this offseason, and rightfully so. We talked about Cody Freeman coming on the show, hyping up Cam Cauley a little bit, said Cam reminds him a lot of himself. Dude's a gamer, and Cody said he thinks Cam's going to be up in the big leagues this year. I can see it. I think it might be when rosters expand down the road in August, September, but I could definitely see Cam maybe getting that call up, roster expansion later on in the season. I mean, look, don't want to throw out the injury card at this point, but yeah, I think Cam is going to continue to get better and better this year. That would be my bet. Keep on going. Appreciate you. What did I miss? I'm scrolling back in TikTok just a little bit. Okay, good. I think I'm fairly well caught up. Brody, I don't know if you're still hanging out. Brody says, do I worry Mackenzie Gore is not living up to basically expectations this year? You know, Gore and Evo struggled in their starts this weekend. Rocker, you could maybe make the argument, even he struggled a little bit. I think Rocker probably had the most positive start out of the three. Evo had a great first inning. Gore had a pretty good first inning, and then the second inning gave him some trouble. Evo was throwing the splitter a lot. Did not hear what Gore was really emphasizing or working on today. I think Mackenzie Gore is going to be just fine. I'm not really worried about Gore's performance today, and giving up a couple of runs. I think it's going to be okay. I do think that Gore is ramping it back up. He had some shoulder fatigue last year, had a little bit of a down second half. I think the two probably went hand in hand if I'm just making a really good inference. I feel like Mackenzie Gore is going to be an elite number 3 in that rotation, get a lot of swing and miss. I'm not feeling any way negative about Mackenzie Gore, even after the start today. Let's talk a couple of lower level names. Wilian Bormie, yesterday, really impressed. He saved the game against the Cubs. 3-2 ball game. Did not allow a base runner. Topped out at 98.6. That's the kind of guy that the Rangers so desperately need at the back end of the pen. And the Rangers have some upper 90s guys. Don't get me wrong. They've got some upper 90s guys. Collier, Baumler. They've got some guys that can throw gas. But it was nice to see a lower level guy, Wilian, AA guy, come in yesterday and slam the door and not even make it interesting. Just slam the door and features a really filthy slider cutter combo to complement that 98.6 mile an hour fastball. I was impressed with him and his performance, his poise up there. It's one game, but those are the kind of guys that you want to see continue to pop in our farm system. We know the farm system is not rated very highly. It's just nice to see young guys like this coming up, throwing hard, and potentially dreaming about them coming up to the big league level one day and becoming an elite late inning option. There's a number of guys right now that could qualify under that as well, but I was impressed with Bormie. Today, Robbie Alstrom came in, got the hold, pitched an inning, struck out 2. Slider was nasty today from Robbie Alstrom. DLLS guys have been talking up Robbie a little bit. I'm a big Robbie Alstrom fan. I think that he is going to have a tough time making the big league squad, the opening day roster. I'm sure he'll be in AAA to start, but topped out at 95 today. And Robbie last year, I felt like was, low 90s quite a bit. It was good to see him hitting 95 on the gun today. And if you compare that 95 mile an hour fastball with a mid to low 80s slider with some bite, that's nasty, especially when you're going lefty on lefty. So for me, loved what I saw from Robbie. Loomis, he was also good as well. Mason, yes, sir. Glad you brought him up. There were a few guys I think that you could point to. Lopez had a couple of strikeouts in his inning pitched. Ryan Brasier had a rough one today, freshly signed. A guy that was on a World Series squad a couple of years ago. I think that Brasier, to me, not what you wanted to see from him in his first outing. 2/3, 4 hits. Everything was like 98 plus on the exit velo, so he's getting hit hard. 3 earned runs. Just not what you wanted to see from Brasier right out the gate. Look, I'll be honest. I mean, it's one game. Maybe it's going to work. Maybe it's not. But it feels like you've got all these young guys, and Brazier's got the veteran experience. That's a positive. But I don't know. You almost would like to see some of these young guys get an opportunity if all you're going to get out of Brasier is kind of mediocre stuff. I think you've got to let the spring play out on him a little bit. But at least my first take, Cal Quantrill was getting a lot of hype as a potential 5th starter. I don't know where that came from. Somebody told me it was the DLLS guys pumping up Cal Quantrill. And look, they probably got their information from somebody within the organization. I never understood Cal Quantrill getting talked up as a potential 5th starter. To me, in my mind, you've got Cody Bradford on the mend. He's going to be back soon. You've got Jacob Latz. You've got Kumar Rocker. Why are we trying to give Cal Quantrill the 5th spot in the rotation? Never made a lot of sense to me. You've got other guys that could probably come up and be a potential 5th starter as well from the minor leagues. I'm just not a big fan of Cal Quantrill stepping into the rotation unless there's significant injury. I think Cal got hit around a little bit yesterday again. Still early, but Cal strikes me. You guys can go back and forth with me on this if you want, but I don't think Cal is out there trying to work on things. Cal, to me, is a guy that has to give you best stuff each time out there, trying to really solidify himself on the roster. Like, if you're Cal Quantrill, why are you trying to mess around out there? Dude, you got to get results. And so I don't take Cal Quantrill's start as, the same way that I take, or not his start, but his appearance. I don't take it the same way I take Gore's or Evo's. Gore is the number 3 guy. Evo is 1 or 2. Cal is a guy that's got to perform. And look, ironically, he gets the win yesterday. Funny enough, gets the win yesterday. An inning and a third, though, 4 hits allowed, 2 walks. So 6 base runners in an inning and a third. 1 earned run. That's pretty wild. He only got 1 earned run out of that, but not a great start to the spring for Cal Quantrill. Yeah, Mace, this is a good point. So Ahlstrom could potentially make the roster if they end up having Jacob Latz in the rotation. I don't think Kumar Rocker is going to go to the pen. I've been very against Kumar Rocker going to the pen. Kumar Rocker as closer has gotten thrown out so much in Ranger Nation. He is infinitely more valuable to you as a starting pitcher. Starting pitchers pitch more innings than closers do, and starting pitchers get more in trades than relief pitchers do. I think it would be a huge disservice. Your first round pick in 2022, do you really want to turn him into a closer, disrupt the development, the progression? I'm a big no on that, but fair point here. Latz goes to the rotation. You've really only got Robert Garcia. You got rid of Hobie Milner. You've really only got Robert Garcia as a solid lefty at this point. Am I missing somebody? Feels like Robert Garcia is about the only solid lefty you've got. And I know that people might be shuddering right now. I think RG gets a little bit of an unfair shake in Rangers fan circles. I mean, look, the guy was not great at times in the 9th inning, but he pitched really well in the 7th and the 8th. And when you matched him up against lefties, it was even better. I think RG, if used correctly, is going to have a really, really good year. I'm not a fan of throwing him out there against anybody. I'd like to limit him to, hey, you got 2 lefties coming up. You've got 3 out of 5 batters lefties coming up. I think that would be more ideal for Robert Garcia than anything else. Ahlstrom might be able to make the roster, potentially. That's right. Tyler Alexander. I'm missing out on Tyler Alexander. Thank you. Alexander pitched today, didn't he? Let's see what he did today. He pitched today and scoreless inning, was it not? Yeah, good. 1 inning, 1 hit, no walks, no strikeouts, but scoreless inning. So you got Alexander. And that definitely, I think you can make it work with 2 lefties back there. 3rd lefty doesn't hurt, though. So maybe Ahlstrom has an outside shot in that regard. Tyler Alexander, 3rd inning. Let's check this out here. 3rd inning is what he worked. And let's see if he got some swing and miss. I'm actually kind of curious about this. I was meaning before the show to check this out, and it just didn't work out. So let's see. Tyler Alexander, first pitch. Through the sinker, gotten out. Then you had Jake McCarthy. Ball, foul. Ball in play on the sweeper. Jordan Beck with the double. That was smoked. 104 off the bat. Did get 1 swinging strike there. And then got a ground out. So only 1 swinging strike today from Alexander. I mean, look, he's not Mackenzie Gore, but you do like to see a little bit of swing and miss. From a lefty especially, you'd love to see a little more swing and miss there, but it's game 1, right? This is the famous, infamous time where we all overreact to everything. Look, this would be nice. If Alexander could become the next Hobie Milner, you would love to see that. Keep going. Appreciate all you guys. I wouldn't move Nimmo to DH. That would be illogical. That, to me, is not illogical, but could be something that you do if you're looking to improve the offense more. Moving Nimmo to DH. I mean, look, Nimmo's not a bad outfielder, but if you wanted to upgrade the offense even further and Sebastian Walcott warranted a call-up and Josh Jung's crushing it at 3rd base, I mean, yeah, you could stick Walcott at 2nd. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think Mason makes a good point about the arm. He's got such a good arm. Do you really want that to just get kind of wasted, I guess, in a way at 2nd? But at the same time, if Josh Smith really comes along this year, which I said we're trying to be positive, glass half full. It's spring where hope springs eternal, pun intended. If Josh Smith has a great year and Walcott's ready, to me, right field isn't a bad option. We'll see what happens. Keep on going. Fire jacket. Hey, Mario, I love this jacket, man. This jacket's actually old. My dad got this for me like years ago. It was one of those where like you dig it out of your closet and you're like, oh yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, I love this jacket, man. Appreciate that. Is there a visiting park that you like to visit? Petco. Dale, I don't know if you're still hanging out, but I love Petco Park. Petco is probably my favorite ballpark, non-Rangers. And look, I'll be honest with y'all. I miss the old Rangers ballpark. I miss the ballpark in Arlington. It's such a great venue. Yes, it was hot in the summertime. The vibes there, the atmosphere was just killer. It definitely beats what we got right now. What we got right now is very nice. It's air conditioned. It holds the memories of the first World Series win, World Series championship in franchise history. But there's nothing like that old ballpark, man. But look, in terms of visiting, yeah, I got to go Petco. There's a number of different ballparks I like. I haven't been to every major league ballpark. I'd like to do that at some point in my life. When Right on Rangers becomes like an everyday job for me, maybe I'll make it happen somewhere down the road. That would be phenomenal. But until then, I've been to maybe about half the ballparks, and most of them are like Midwest to West Coast. I have not been to a ton of East Coast ballparks, which, I mean, are obviously some of the most historic in the game. So that is definitely bucket list for me. Make it to all the ballparks. Global Life Field is nice. I'm not trying to be a hater. Like, it's nice. It's air conditioned. But again, we're just talking about environment, atmosphere. It's hard to beat that old ballpark, man. It just is. Really, truly. Walcott is hurt for the year. Actually, not for the year. I think for most of the summer is what they're saying. Most of the summer. I don't know if you would want to really rush him back. I said that when the Walcott news broke. Do you really want to rush him back unless he is just really needed or really, really healthy? I don't think it's Tommy John, is it? Mace, do you know? Mace, I don't know if you're still hanging out. By the way, go follow Mace over on X for sure. Mason Hoven, great follow, writes for the Prospect Times. Highly recommend his stuff. I'll throw him up there for a second so y'all can see. Mason Hoven, great stuff out of him. Good Rangers content. Would highly recommend the follow. I think it's brace surgery. I don't think it's full-on TJ for Sebastian Walcott. I think they're doing the brace surgery, which I think is what Cody Bradford had done, right? Cody didn't do full Tommy John. I think Cody just did the brace. So I think that's where they're at with Walcott. Yeah, maybe they're still deciding. All right. I don't miss the scorching hot seats that gave you third-degree burns when you sat down. Yeah, that and your butt being totally swamped out, especially if you were in the sun. I don't miss that. I do not miss that. I do miss October at the ballpark. And I got to go in 2010. I did not go in 2011. I got to go in 2010. It was the Yankees. It was not the clincher. It was actually the game, I don't know if y'all remember, it was actually the game where the Rangers melted down a little bit. I think it was game 1 or game 2 in that 2010 ALCS. If I'm remembering correctly, it was like A-Rod hit like a little nubber to third base error, and then like the rally started and we ended up losing the game. Obviously, we ended up winning the series. It was phenomenal, but yeah, that 2010 ALCS, the crowd, the environment was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Keep going. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. We're over an hour, man. Look at that. This happens. Time flies when you're having fun. Hey, by the way, thank you so much for everybody that has followed so far on the show today. I see a bunch of y'all on TikTok have followed. Thank you to all of y'all that have subbed on YouTube. And look, I know we've mentioned the Discord a couple of different times. Some of y'all were asking me about that. Look, the Discord is the one thing that I've monetized here on the channel, and it's $2.99 a month. If you want to get access to that exclusive Ride on Rangers Discord, You either become a subscriber on TikTok, $2.99 a month plan. If you're on YouTube, you hit that join button, $2.99 a month for that. And we get you into the Discord immediately after the show. It's an outstanding group of people. It's a great community. The one thing that I've kind of monetized here on the channel, I plan on most of my stuff always being free. I like it that way. But one way, if you want to take your support of the show to the next level, consider signing up for that Discord. Again, hit that join button on YouTube. Or if you're on TikTok, subscribe, become a member, and we'll get you into that Discord right away. Totally optional. Appreciate all the ways that you support the show. Just showing up, dropping the comments. It's all excellent. Don't take any of it for granted, but wanted to throw that your way. Plan is, by the way, oh, Amanda, thank you for the heart. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Really generous of you. Thank you. Good to see you. If you have kind of been catching the drift a little bit here, we do a show on Thursday. We go live during the off season every Thursday, usually around, I don't know. What have we been doing? 6:30, 7 p.m. Texas time, Central Standard Time. I'm out in Vegas, so it's like 4:30 or 5 for me out here. Every Thursday, we have been going live. And then I'm trying to add in 1 to 2 other shows during spring training. So Sunday is going to probably be a great day. I'd like to do after some of the televised games where we all can actually watch, right? I mean, look, it's one thing to listen to the game on the radio. I'm an old school radio guy. I love listening to the radio. But of course, I love when the games in spring can actually be viewed on television. And so maybe after some of those televised games, we'll go live. I know I could probably be better about letting y'all know when I go, but, I figure you can catch it on the replay if you miss it. We're always on YouTube. We post all of our lives directly to YouTube. So if you want to follow me over on YouTube, if you're on TikTok, you can always check out a live. And during the season, I go live after pretty much every single baseball game. Like if I got a family trip or a work trip, maybe I make an exception, but even then I sometimes try and go live, even if it's a bit more informal. But yeah, look, we are going to be ramping up the content big time. You don't want to miss it. It is going to be phenomenal. Devontae, the only thing that you got to do to get in the Discord is you got to join on YouTube, sign up, $2.99 a month. It's the only thing we've monetized here on the channel. No paywalls, nothing crazy like that. But definitely, if you join today, you become a member of the YouTube channel, then we can get you into that Discord. I'll DM you after the show, and we will get you right on in. Can we have Corey back? No, we're keeping him. Love Corey Seager. Big dumper, baby. Yeah, look, I traded in the Mariners gear for a little bit. We're doing our Rangers show. Going to go back to the spring training here in a little bit and get back into the groove of things with Seattle. Yeah. Seattle all-star catcher by day, Rangers podcaster by night. That's me. Let's go Rangers. Yes, sir, Chuckles. Who's the closer? I'm hoping Chris Martin over Robert Garcia, but Skip Schumacher has said it's going to be either RG or it's going to be Chris Martin. C-Mart or RG? That's it. All right, y'all. Hey, Grayson, what's good, man? Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. No broadcasts on radio till Saturday. That is brutal. Oh, that's brutal. I don't understand it. I know, and X is full of people that just like to play contrarian. So I totally get it. But I'm like, I do not understand at all why these games are not all televised, why these games are not all on TV. I mean, at least one of the teams should be responsible for carrying the game. Like, if you want to alternate it so you only do half, the Cubs, they were the ones that did the broadcast yesterday. Like, that's great. Like, alternate, but every single game should be on TV, man. I don't care if you put an iPhone out in center field on a freaking tripod. Like, I will be good with that. Zoom in. We don't get to see all the action, but at least we can watch the pitcher versus the batter. I'll take that. Give me a little feed. Give me a little radio. And you know what? You can tell me what happened. I don't need to see everything going on. At least let me watch the pitcher versus the batter. You can do that on an iPhone Pro Max, man. You could get probably a pretty good picture just using a phone. I don't even understand why these clubs don't get a little bit more innovative when it comes to getting the content out there. It's only better for anybody because, look, those of y'all that follow me on X and other socials, I was posting some of the videos nonstop from that game. It's just content gold for MLB and all their teams. I just don't understand at all why you wouldn't want every single game on television. It's like content galore. Makes no sense to me. No sense. Hey, Devontae, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Hey, look, I don't know if you follow me on any other socials. I was going to say, if you do, DM me on one of those because I know YouTube is weird about the DMs. But Devontae, email, I just dropped it into the chat, austin@rightonrangers.com. Please send me an email or DM me on one of the other socials so I can get you into the Discord. I know the email is a little old school, but YouTube's a little old school, man. They don't let you DM. So like I said, if you got me on one of the other socials, X, TikTok, shoot me a DM. Otherwise, shoot me an email, austin@rightonrangers.com, and I will get you immediately into the Discord, man. That'll be great. All right, y'all. What do we got? Hey, 44. Better late than never, but you're here. You're here. That's good stuff, brother. We've been talking just all spring training at this point. Luis, yes, big fan of the Javonte Williams signing. Just a big fan. Glad that they got that figured out. Love Javonte Williams and what he did for the Cowboys last year. By the way, I cover the Cowboys and the Longhorns during the football season. Rangers are the number one on this channel, but football, we definitely like to talk a little bit of Mavs. It's been a bad year. I haven't talked a ton of Mavs this year. It is called Right on Rangers for a reason. So we're Rangers primary. We talk a little football. We talk some basketball at times too. I don't know if I'll do March Madness this year. If the Longhorns end up making the tournament, which is a little bit of a long shot, I feel like that they actually would make it and do well, but we'll see. Maybe. Possibly. Let me see. Any type of coverage, I'm with you. Any type of coverage we'll take. I mean, I know there's always going to be people complaining. Even if they did the iPhone idea that I had, there's still going to be people complaining. You know it. There's going to be people complaining about the iPhone out in center field. But you know what? Like I said, I'll take it at this point. I will take it. What's the Rangers' latest? 2-1. We'll take 2-1, 44. We'll take being a positive above 500 at this point. We'll take it. But the guys that I'm impressed with so far, Josh Jung, tearing the cover off the ball. A lot of triple-digit exit velocities. Mike, good to see you, man. Better late than never. No worries, brother. You can always catch it on the replay if you want to watch a little bit more. Mace, I would love if you'd get some video. That would be phenomenal. Yeah, I definitely am impressed with Young. I like what I've seen from Jonah Bride so far. He's had some good hits. Cam Cauley has definitely been a bright spot. Josh Smith is hitting the ball well. He's only had a few at-bats, but he has looked good in his ABs. Corey Seager's still hitless. Are we worried? Corey Seager's still looking for that first hit of spring training. Jake Berger as well. Jock, I think, had a little infield single, so he technically has a hit. Kyle Higashioka hitting 500. And look, on the pitching side of things, there's a lot of young guys getting opportunities. It was nice to see Baumler have a nice 1-2-3 in his outing yesterday. Wilian Bormie looked good closing out the game yesterday. Robbie Alstrom, Leandro Lopez, Loomis looked good. A lot of guys looking good early who are going to potentially be the future here in the next few years. It's just fun to see some of these guys in action. Cauley committed to your college before he got drafted. Very cool. Very cool. Foscue, I think, is possibly going to make the team. I think he's got to beat out Mike Hellman and he's got to beat out Zeke Duran, right? There's 4 bench spots. This is the last thing I'll talk about before we take off for the day, all right? Evan Carter's been hitting well. I think he had a 110 mile an hour line out or something earlier today against a lefty. That's promising. Evan Carter, man, if he can get to everyday level, that would be phenomenal. I think he's another guy I would love to see really take the bull by the horns and become the everyday center fielder, not just against righties, the everyday guy. That would be awesome. Do I see Foscue making the team, though? Let's go back to that. We talked about Foscue earlier on the show today. I would just say this. You got to consider there's 4 bench spots. Danny Jansen's taking one of them. I think Higgy's probably going to be the opening day guy. So we'll just say Danny Jansen / Higgy is taking one of the bench spots. After that, I don't think there's any disputing Sam Haggerty is going to be on the major league roster on opening day. I just think switch hitter, multiple positions, can play outfield, can play second base, potential platoon guy that you could throw out there with Josh Smith if you want to sit Josh Smith against lefties. And Josh Smith against lefties was not good last year. OPS was in the 500s. Maybe that changes this year. Maybe it doesn't. I think Swaggerty and one of the catchers has those 2 spots locked up. So there's really 2 other spots available, right? And to me, you've got Zeke Duran, Hellman, Osuna. You had Freeman. And then you've got Foscue. These are guys, by the way, that are actually on the 40-man roster right now. Look, Jonah Bride could force his way on with an incredibly hot spring, but a little bit less likely because he's not a 40-man guy. And so of the guys who are currently on the 40-man, I do think you've got to beat out, if you're Justin Foscue, Zeke Duran, and Mike Hellman. I don't think Osuna is going to be a factor. I think they are going to put him at AAA. The Nimmo move basically, I think, eliminated Alejandro from being on the opening day roster. Alejandro really only played against lefties, and you replaced Garcia, a righty, with another lefty. I think that pretty much sealed Alejandro Osuna's fate for 2026. Not to say Alejandro couldn't come back up and make contributions, but I don't see them carrying him on the opening day roster because of the Nimmo acquisition. Nothing personal against Alejandro. I think you guys know I'm a big Osuna fan. Huge Osuna fan. Hope he freaking rakes at the WBC here in a couple of weeks. But I think Osuna is probably going to be in Round Rock to start the year. And so that leaves it to 2 guys, right? If you're Foscue, you've got to beat Hellman and you've got to beat out Zeke Duran. And we'll see if he's able to do that or not. But I could see that happening because he is a guy that can potentially play multiple spots. Zeke can too. So can Mike Hellman. First of all, he's a first-round pick. He's a guy that you've invested draft capital into, and pretty significant draft capital. Foscue, I think, could find a way, but he's got to beat Zeke, and he's got to beat Mike Hellman. Keep going. What are my thoughts on ABS? Fan of it. I'm not a fan of full-on robo. Except if the Rangers really get screwed over, then I'll get on the show and say robo-umps, only robo-umps. But no, I think I would like to see more challenges. I don't think they have enough challenges right now. I'd like to see more, but I'll take whatever we can get. It is, Mike. I'm with you. Mike brings up a good point. Actually, the exit velocities are a little bit inflated in Arizona, right? The air is thinner. Elevation's a little higher. By the way, there's been a lot of wonky stuff with the Arizona sun, man. I think I've seen more baseballs drop in than I've seen like over the past 5 years in one weekend. Like that Arizona sun is filthy. It's just hard to track fly balls at times. And a lot of pros will say that. But along with that, you've got a little bit of inflated exit velocities. That's very true. Keep on going. See if I missed anything. Have I seen early views? Imai, I haven't seen a lot of other teams. And I've seen only very limited highlights here and there. But I've heard that he's pitching pretty well. Let's go Rangers, absolutely. All right, y'all. Garcia does look weird in a Phillies uniform. DC4L, I couldn't agree more. Seeing Dolly in that Phillies uniform looked very weird. Very weird. All right, y'all. I'm going to take off for the day. We've been going almost an hour and a half. It's been fun. We'll be back on Thursday for sure. I'm not sure that we'll do a live with really no games that are going to be on over the next little bit here. Let's see, though. February 23rd, we've got... actually, the Angels will be carrying the game tomorrow. All right, let's talk this through before Thursday. The Angels are carrying the game tomorrow if you've got an MLB TV or an MLB subscription. Angels will carry the game tomorrow, so you can listen to the game tomorrow through the Angels Network. Then on the 24th, Tuesday, we're playing the Diamondbacks. It does not look like right now there is anything radio or TV for the Diamondbacks game on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we are playing the Guardians. It says TBD as well for the Guardians game. And then the 26th, Thursday, the next day we plan to go live. It does look like the game is going to be broadcasted on the radio by the A's. And so, look, you can watch no baseball over the next 4 days, but you can listen to it tomorrow and on Thursday for sure. The Angels are not carrying any TV games, but apparently they are going to splurge and do some radio. Oh, man. Yeah, the Red Sox playing a college team. Who else did that? I think the Twins played like the University of Minnesota as well. Yeah, Mike, catch us on the replay, guys. Y'all know if you ever miss a show, every show is posted to YouTube. Every show. So if you ever miss something, you can always go back, catch us on the replay, increase the speed a little bit if you want to get through it a little bit faster. Do 1.1, 1.2, whatever you got to do. But yeah, you can always follow us over on YouTube if you ever miss something. All my people who are on TikTok, that'd be awesome. Hey, it was great today. A lot of fun talking baseball. It's just fun getting back in the rhythm. Fun getting back in the rhythm of ball, talking ball with you guys. Miss it when it's gone. And then just when it comes back, it is incredible. It's a great feeling. And so the Rangers go 2-1 their first weekend of spring training in 2026. A lot of good stuff to take away. It's early, but there is a lot of more amazing, incredible content coming your way from us here at Right On Rangers. Follow along. If you're not hitting that follow button yet, let's do it so you can stay up to date. 44, I'm sorry about the notifications. I was going to say turn those notifications on so y'all don't miss it, but 44 was telling me that there was some issues with getting notified, man. I don't even know what's going on with that, but turn notifications on. If you're on TikTok, if you're on X, YouTube, whatever it is, that way you'll never miss a live show. Because Lord knows I can get better at letting you guys know when I'm going live, but turn those noties on so that way you never miss out. Thursday will be the next live show in all likelihood, though. Thursday, and then we'll probably do another weekend show to kind of recap the week. That'll be the plan. I like that rhythm. Always be room for an emergency pod if something crazy happens, but maybe that's going to be the rhythm. Thursdays, Sundays, Thursdays, Saturdays, something like that. All right, y'all. Love you. Thanks for hanging out. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.